Right, Chris, a busy old week, and at the end of it all, a game that, 3 points from this one would, I'm sure, as always, be very welcome.
Yeah, that's what we're after. That's our aim. Another tough game. Obviously, a team in a false position. So I think everybody understands that. Everybody, sees each other's results and performances, and you've got to say, you've been very, very impressive. The job that Wayne and Liam have done with the players at their disposal as well. I think I think a lot has been said about it as well in terms of sometimes off the field stuff galvanises teams on the pitch, groups, and I've been in that position before, and totally understand it as well, and it does brings everybody together, and they're certainly producing committed, impressive performances, and obviously the results that they're getting have been first class.
I assume you're referring to your time at Northampton there.
Northampton, Halifax. Yeah, it followed me around for a few years.
What difference, in your experience then, what difference does it make, or can it make, off-pitch stuff to on-pitch on a Saturday or a Tuesday?
I think, you have, I think, as I said, I don't want to go too deep into this, as you understand, but from my experiences, there's two ways you can go. You can stick a white flag up and feel sorry for yourself and look for loads of excuses, or you can get on with the job in hand. I think my background was always going to be the latter. Not a lot of things change as well. Training ground's still there, coach is still there, hotels are still there. I should imagine support staff for the players are still there. Players are still getting paid the wages on time, I should imagine. There's a lot of uncertainty around things, but there's a lot of uncertainty around football, as in full stop. If you're in it from 16 to 35, there's always a certain amount of uncertainty, obviously at a different level, and I'm not playing that down. I've got to say, it's for Wayne to come into management as he has done with Liam, who I know really well, they've done a fabulous job, and academy's still there. The academy's always produced some really good players. I think you look at their academy and our academy. It's been really productive. You see a lot of the young players, and what it does gives a lot of them young players that were expected to come through, and possibly an earlier opportunity than maybe they envisaged. But they've still got to produce the goods. They've still got to be coached and put in a formation the right way. And I've got to say, from a footballing point of view, it's really an impressive job that Wayne and Liam and everybody from the football side have done. Know a couple of the players as well. Obviously, I knew Phil Jagielka really well before he went in January. Know Richard Stearman really well. So they've got a nice balance, and this is on the pitch. It's another tough afternoon, but expected.
And you mentioned, obviously, with the points deduction, the false position, as you said. So this is a team who have shown they can beat teams from all parts of the division previously.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at the record. Like a lot of teams, you have mixed results. They can be beat, but they can beat as well. So we're on it. We're on it in terms of what we understand, what we're expecting. We knew what we were expecting on Wednesday night, and I was delighted with how we went about our business, and it'll be exactly the same on Saturday afternoon. As you said, there's going to be a lot of noise around it. We just got to concentrate on our football, and if we play in the manner that we did on Wednesday night, I think we looked a really competitive side in and out of possession, and we'll have an opportunity to win a game of football if we produce those standards.
Riley McGree was, we got our first sighting of him doing his warm-up on Wednesday night, obviously on the bench. Is he someone that you're already thinking, how do I get him in the starting 11? Well,
it's not my job to get him in the starting 11. It's his job to get in the starting 11. So that's how it works. I talked about changes sometimes, tactical, maybe from a physical point of view, maybe to freshen it up, which we did on Wednesday night. So there's always different ideas going through your head. utilise your squad, and if you need it, obviously if a suspension comes in, that forces your hand a bit. If an injury comes in, it forces your hand a bit. If somebody's out of form for 3 or 4 games, then you understand that you might have to flip it around a little bit. But competition for places is key. That's what we're after. And Riley's got to put pressure on the players in front of him. And certainly, if you've got a good group, a competitive group, and there's real competition and fierce competition for places in the right way, then that doesn't. There's no downside for that as your group. So we have that luxury and comfort that if it opens up for Riley, a really good player is going to come into our team.
And a player who will be, I'm sure, excited to be here, won't he, after all his travels and his COVID problems and just everything that's gone into it.
Yeah, for him and us as well. We want to bring good players to the football club, and I think we've bought a really good player, value for money, great age, great attributes that fit into the way we play. Technically good enough, athletically good enough, and from a mentality point of view, we talked about it. That Aussie winning mentality, as they are. They love the sport. He loves his football. He wants to win. He wants to make a success of his career, and I think it's a really good signing for us and part of the build. We brought a couple of loan players in, but part of the build, and that's what's going to happen over sort of the next 2 or 3 transfer windows. We're going to build, and we're going to bring in good young players into the building, and certainly Riley's one of those.
How's Martin Piero doing? Any further news on his, the severity of his injury?
Yeah, we're waiting for the results of the scan. They're waiting for the swelling to go down, so he misses out on Saturday. So, as I said, it's no good me trying to be clever or this is how it is. Martin, it's really disappointing for Martin. You saw the reaction of him and everybody, and to be carried off like that was a disappointing aspect of a really positive night. Apart from not picking up the 3 points, there was so many positives to come out of that. But obviously the negative was seeing Martin getting carried off. So yeah, he's got swelling around his ankle. So we'll wait for that to go down, get it scanned up, and fingers crossed we have a touch of luck with it, and a touch of luck for the boy as well.
And just a last one from me on Johnny Howson, your captain, who I spoke to after the match on Wednesday night. 33 years old, and shows no sign of slowing down, does he? How important is Johnny to what you're trying to achieve?
Well, yeah, his experience is key. He's more of a leader in how he goes about it. He's not a ranter or raver. He's not a shouter and baller, but he leads by example. I thought his example over the last 2 games has been outstanding. He showed on Friday night, the level that he's played at, and he wasn't afraid to mix it with the big boys physically and getting on the ball, and that is really important. I was a touch critical at times in terms of sort of our pass retention and what we did with the ball, but certainly got back up to the standards that I'm looking for on Wednesday night, and Johnny was key to all that. Gets around the pitch, just a really good midfield player. I've always talked about this in terms of is he a sitter, is he a 6, is he an 8, is he a sitter, is he a defensive midfield player, is he an attacking midfield player? For me, they all roll into one. You've got to be good at everything in that part of the pitch. A la Brian Robson. If it's a tackle to be won, he won it. If he kept it simple, he did. If he needed to hit a raking pass, he did. And if he needed to score a goal, he would. So the game really, keep saying it, there's a lot of nonsense in the game, and people trying to reinvent the game. A midfield player is a midfield player, and Johnny's a good midfield player.
But not the new Brian Robson.
Yeah, possibly. A little bit late to stick that onto his toes, but Brian was some player, as we all know, and it is quite funny because I've talked about goal watches and 14 seconds and opening World Cup goals, and the younger players are looking at me as if to say, is he being on the drink again? Not again. Is he beyond the drink? So they're looking at me. I'm going, Brian Robson, throw, flick on, arriving late in the box. And they're going, They're not even knowing the goal. They're not even knowing who Brian Robson is, which frightens me, sort of concerns me. But listen, Steven Gerrard. Let's say Steven Gerrard. Listen, good midfield players. Good fit. Really good midfield players that can do everything. And I think that's what Johnny is. And the way we play, he suits us. The level of that he's played at, has obviously played at Championship level, and he's a key player for us.
Lovely, right? Best luck tomorrow.
Cheers, Mark. Thank you.
Dawn, please.
Hey, Dawn.
Hi, Chris. Was the most pleasing aspect of the results in midweek the fact that you managed to come from behind twice and show that sort of fighting spirit and character?
No, no, not really. I knew we had that. I think the results that we've already had show that we've got that in the locker. To dig in at Old Trafford. You learn that pretty quickly, Dawn. In terms of looking at the group and what they're about character-wise. Of course, yeah. I'm not being flippant about it. It is comforting that they did recover, and they've got to recover because we are going to go behind in games. Well, obviously, we'd rather go in front in games and then extend the lead. But in these keep forgetting how many games we've got left. But in these remaining sort of 16, 17 games or whatever that is, there's going to be disappointment, and there's going to be disappointment. There's going to be mistakes made, and you've got to get up and get on with it. I think it's always the true test, and the true test of your character as a player and as a team. So we've shown enough previously. So I knew we'd keep playing. I just thought the way we played was the energy levels we showed, the way we played, where we dictated the ball. The way we limited a very good side, an informed side, to next to nothing. One chance first half, nothing really second half, and way we dictated, dominated the game, and kept the ball, built momentum was really pleasing and good to see, and players, giving sort of really good performances, right up there, not average performances. I thought everybody. Listen, as I said, there was a mistake or two in the game. We understand that, but there was 9 or 10 really, really good performances in that team performance. So that was pleasing.
I suppose that you could never really have been sure before kick-off how they were going to respond after that FA Cup result. So I guess that must have been very pleasing for you.
Well, everybody looks and you talk about it, don't you? So you're confident that you would knowing the players at your disposal and what their attitude's about. So, and they're learning about me. They're learning, what makes me tick. And that was, for me, if you want to achieve anything in this division, nights like that, you've got to turn up and produce performances and get something from the game. If we'd have ground one out and got a result, then we would have been pleased with that, because it was an hectic sort of 3 or 4 days, and obviously, playing 120 minutes and the emotional aspect of Old Trafford on a Friday night had to be taken into consideration. But you have to turn up, Wednesday night at Loftus Road, long journey down against a team banging form, tight ground against good players. You've got to turn up if you want to get a result and you want to be successful in this division. And that's what we want to do. That's our aim, whether it's short, medium or long term. So, if it doesn't happen this year, then, it has to, next year or the year after, nights like that, we have to go and get something from the game and be consistent with our approach and performance. And we were certainly consistent with our approach, and I thought the performance was really, really good and up there with the top performances that we've produced in a short time.
But that ability to fight back is going to be really important against Derby side, who, as you say, have not put up the right white flag and surrendered. They're fighters, and their managers are fighters. So that sort of attitude is going to be really important.
They all are done. Every manager in this division, they don't get. Keep saying this. You don't get to the level of management experience and manage at the Championship without having something underneath your shirt. A beating heart, that and character. You don't get to this situation by just being flaky and milky and soft and being given this position. You have to work incredibly hard. Some have to work harder than others. and players have to work hard to get to this position. This I keep saying about it. The Reading game, they're on a tough run, and they've had a situation, off the pitch that's not helped them, and they've had some horrendous injuries and been difficult for them. But we understood how difficult that game was, where everybody expected us. They got turned over by Fulham. There might be the odd exception that, really there is major issues behind the scenes and major issues from a footballing point of view. But, you look at any team in this division, and I think that's the reason why you're looking down to 13th and 14th place in terms of a fight for playoffs stroke promotion. And then you've got the other side of it, you've got those other teams that maybe aren't the wealthiest of football clubs, that maybe have not got the best players, not got the best facilities, but they're incredibly fighting to stay in the league. You look at Wycombe Wanderers last year, they were absolute bankers to go down. They shouldn't have been anywhere near the Championship, and they took it to the last day. Rotherham took it to the last day. So there's a huge amount of fight and character and pride in those guys, and sometimes you don't get results based on your character and your pride. Sometimes you get them that maybe your team just isn't strong enough and just hasn't really got enough quality really to see it through. And how does that happen? Well, sometimes because of the competitiveness of the Championship and how tough it is, and teams spending money and whatever. But as I said, look at Wycombe. They should have got nowhere near it, and they fought and fought and fought. So every team in this division, majority of teams, if not all the divisions, have got staff that want to win, and have got players that want to win, and got a team that wants to fight and get a result.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Chris. Good
Thanks,
luck.
Don. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks.
Simon from Tyne Tees.
Hey, Simon.
Hi, Chris. I've just got a couple. In your opinion, how big an achievement would it be if Wayne Rooney can keep Derby up this season?
Well, they've got good enough players. I mean, as I said, it's still goals. Still plenty of games to go. They're mid-table. So, would you expect Derby to be a mid-table team? Taking out the points deduction, but the big thing is obviously from the start when the points deduction gets whacked in is. But they've, like I said, they've got good players. They've got good academy players, really good players that are sought after players. They've kept hold of the majority of them. Even the boy that's gone, signed for Palace has come back. So they've got some really good players: Buchanan, Knight, Max Bird. They've got some really good players. They've got some good experience, solid competitors: Stearman, Curtis Davis. Right the way through the team, exciting young players. They've got a good balance, of players that are competitive. A manager who really has had a fabulous playing career, who wants to replicate that in management. Good backroom staff. Liam Rossini, who's I believe is an incredible young coach, possibly not coming out of that young mould now into sort of an experienced part of it. Who's a great guy, and they're fighting and they're gaining results. And as I said, it's a good group. It's a good team. They lost a couple. They lost Shinnie, which they wouldn't have wanted to. They lost obviously Phil Jagielka. It's been difficult because obviously they've not been able to sign anybody. So that's they've had to rely on the players that they've got, and they're good. They're a good group, and they've got results that are deserved. So that'll, as we all talk about reflection at the end of the season, that's the time that we can only really make the true assessment of our season has gone from our point of view, from Fulham's point of view, from West Brom's point of view, to Peterborough's point of view, to Derby County's point of view. They'll be looking to come to the Riverside on Saturday and carry on the good form that they've produced so far.
I'm just looking at your group and a couple of the new guys in particular. It's a bit different for Riley, obviously, because he's just kind of got here for one reason and another. But looking at the two lads in the forward areas, Aaron and Flo, how do you feel they're settling in?
Yeah, it's not easy to come in January because they've come in from levels of of not playing first team football. So they've integrated in the group fine. They're popular boys. The character's good, and they're working hard on the training ground. And they're part of the group that's won at Old Trafford on penalties. That got a result on Wednesday night. That are 7th or 8th in the table. That have played a part in the games that they've played. And the run that we're on, and they'll get better and they'll grow into the season, and they're fine additions in my from my point of view to go and get those boys. What does it do to the standards of Duncan Watmore and Andy Sprawler? Does it raise their standards? So we've got 4 really good strikers, 5 with young Josh in there. So, sometimes people look and go, well, they're going to go straight in and score, 10 to 15 goals, and they're going to be this, that, and the other. I think in experience, it doesn't always work that way, but they are contributing, and they will contribute for the second part of the season. And looking forward to working with them, because they're both really talented young footballers that need all our support.
And last one from me, and this as well as anyone, but God, the Championship's relentless, isn't it? I mean, you've had a big emotional tie at Man United, you've got a game against a promotion rival, then you've got another emotional game against a team who are much better than their league position suggests. It's just relentless, isn't it?
I sat on a settee for 4 months, so, let me answer this right in the right way. I'd much rather be sat in this chair than sat on a settee. No disrespect to my family. This is what I've been brought up with and enjoy, and we all do. We're at the business end of an incredible Championship season, where 12, 13, 14 clubs are vying to get into the playoff stroke, go up. Obviously, some got better opportunities and chances than others, and the likes of Derby. From the playing point of view, and Wayne and Liam and their players are on a journey of an incredible journey in trying to stay in the division. So everybody's got their own goals. So Peterborough will have their own one, and Hull City will, and all the others, Barnsley and Reading, they'll all have their respective goals that they want to achieve. And it's everything to play for. And you're right. I think it's a compelling season in the Championship, and it's so interesting and exciting, and I think there's so many more twists and turns to be had. We've just got to keep focused, keep producing the goods, keep playing in the manner that we're playing, from a spirit point of view, from an attitude point of view, from how we're playing, and just make sure we respect obviously the opposition that we're playing, which we always do. Whether it's Mansfield or Manchester United or Derby County, we do, but as well, making sure that we're right and we're at it, because I believe that when we're right and we're on it, and we play to the best of our ability, then we're up there and we're a match for any team in division, and that's the belief that's been gained by the performances and results that we've had.
That's great for me. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Simon. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Craig, please.
Hey, Craig.
Morning, Chris.
Morning, mate.
Just one quickly on Matt Crooks. How's he after Wednesday night?
The big daft tree. He's just got a whack to one of his branches, hasn't he? So he's all right. He was just he had drug test. He had the drug testers were with us on Wednesday night. So obviously he has to perform something that for the drug testers to get what they need to get. So the coach was delayed a little bit, so he got a bit of stick, and it was quite interesting and funny to see his head get stitched up on the back of the coach late on Wednesday night. So, but he's a tough old Yorkshire boy, and he'll get on with it. And he's okay, and he's available.
Brilliant. that's good news. Yeah, Chris, just obviously we've mentioned the situation Derby are in at the moment, and as you've already alluded to, you experienced that yourself in your managerial career, and quite similar to Wayne Rooney, it was early in your managerial career as well, wasn't it? I mean, how challenging was that period for you?
Oh, don't worry about it. I've had some challenges in my time. Listen, it's all relevant, and the manager at Derby County is, as I said, he's earning plaudits, rightly so, for steering the ship and being the leader of the football club from a football point of view, and doing a great job, as I said, with Liam and the coaches and whatever. But as I said, there's still parts of it that, when you talk about it, you sort of have a little giggle. The training ground ain't being whipped away from them. They're not travelling in cars. There's no food. They're not getting. They are getting paid. So it is all relevant, no. And I don't want to take anything away, but it's sort of different levels as well of that situation. And they've got nothing to lose, I think. The previous manager here said that regarding, but they've still got to galvanise the team, which has done fabulously well, and they play good stuff, and they're a really dangerous team. As I said, sometimes when you've got nothing to lose, you play with that freedom, and you become that dangerous side. And they have all season and took some big scalps and produced some really good performances. You see it, They fight to the end. They've scored some fabulous late equalisers, stroke winners. And one thing that you understand is that it's going to be a tough game on Saturday. We're going to have to play well and really see the game through, because there's always a big fight. And you can imagine as well from the career and the attitude of the manager. That's been instilled on his players, and they're playing in the way that the manager wants them to play, and other characteristics as well that the manager's shown throughout an incredible playing career.
Yeah. Just finally from me, Chris, you mentioned the two strikers you managed to bring to the club in January. Young Josh, you mentioned him as well. I mean, thinking back to January, was there any kind of conversations, any considerations about potentially loaning him out at all, or was it always the plan to keep him at the club?
Plenty of interest, but he's with us. He's with us to the end of the season. We have three strikers on the bench. If the five are all fit, two playing, we always play with two off the bench. 8 and 9 times out of 10, then two come off. He only needs one injury, and then and Josh gives us different qualities as well. So, and it's quite lazy for people just to say, "Oh, get him out on loan; it'll do him good." Well, what about being involved in training every day with players that are playing at a tempo, learning from the likes of Lee Peltier and Sol Bamba, us having the ability to coach the young boys as well, how we want them to play. Listen, there might be a time where we go, next year it might be the time to send Josh out on loan, or who knows, or we might be a time go, well, this last 6 months has been a brilliant experience for him, because he's been involved in the intensity of the training, the tempo of the training. He's been in and around. He knows what works for me and the coaching staff. He knows how we roll. We've had an opportunity to work with him as well on one-to-ones and his clips and stuff like that, and he jumped straight back in. He's jumped straight back in, and physically gets better through these next 6 months, and becomes a striker that we all hope he becomes.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, because obviously, like you see, I mean, at this stage in his career, when you've come in and you bring in, a very new style to the club, that coaching, could be very, just as valuable as kind of playing first 10 minutes elsewhere where the style might not be the same.
100%. There's Penny. He signed a new contract. He's highly rated. He's highly thought of. If I didn't think, in a way, if we didn't think that he could contribute to our season, then we might let him go out on loan. So he's got to take that as a bit of an ultimate sort of compliment really that we feel he's part of the first team group that hopefully can get us results to sort of push to the second part of the season to have a successful season. So, as I said, it's quite, it's not always let's get him out on loan. Some, you think timing. There's a lot of thought that goes into this. It's not just he's not, he's a young kid, we brought two in, let's get him out on loan. He's part of a group, and he'll be part of that group on Saturday, and it might open up for him. At the moment, it isn't, but there's still different ways to learn, and he's got a big future at the football club. He fits the way we play, even though he's a different type of forward. We're still teaching him and learning with him, but he's got really good attributes. His attitude's spot on, and delighted he signed a new contract. And by the way, he should. It was the correct decision for him to stay here.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Chris.
Cheers, mate.
Matty.
Hey, Matt.
Morning, Chris. How are you?
Morning, mate. Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, good, man. Just speaking of contracts, you talked about Johnny Howson and how brilliant he's been for you. Now, his deal runs out at the end of the season. Is there any indication you can give us on whether there's been conversations behind the scene about a potential extension, or is that just too early to talk about?
Yeah, I'm not going to get caught up in talking about contracts. It's bigger issues to talk about than players' contracts. In terms of the sort of ones coming, out of contract at the end of the season, the experienced ones, the older ones, the younger ones. Of course, yeah. There's, we've done Isaiah Jones. We always have to look at that. We did Josh. But the others, there's still a lot to play for. So, we don't want to get bogged down with, speaking about every player and, what we're going to do with him, There's still a hell of a lot to play for. A lot of football, a lot of points to be won. And players are okay. They'll get on with it. There's different ways of approaching it as well. So that's the way. I don't see us dealing with anybody now. I don't know if we've got anybody that's coming up, young boys or whatever. I think we've dealt with everything. Yeah, I think we've tied up. We've tied up with the young boys in terms of their futures, which is crucial as assets. Of the football club. We're well stocked in that now, which gives us a lot of comfort as well, Matty. And the older boys will be all right. They understand it. And when the timing's right, then we'll be speaking to them. And obviously, that'll filter through to you guys.
As you say, that is just the nature of football and the nature of their points in their careers, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I've been in that situation, and you've got there's Johnny Howson, there's Peltier, there's Sol Bamba. Those boys are out of contract. Do they want to stay here? I've not really had that discussion, but I believe in terms of what they've produced on the pitch and their attitude around the place, that they want to be part of something that's going forward and it's going to be a success. So. But they'll understand that, and they'll know that they need to keep the hammer down in terms of what they're producing on and off the pitch.
Just harping back to Martin Piero as well. Obviously, rotten luck with him being out this weekend. If you were to ask him about his spell at Middlesbrough so far, would you say he'd probably come back to you and say it's been quite difficult with injuries and adjusting to life in England and adjusting to the tempo of the game? Yeah, I mean,
you look that he's not been a regular. He's had a few issues pre me being here. The team, sometimes you find yourself out of the team because of current form of the three that were playing in there. He had obviously from the COVID point of view that was a setback for him as well, where he would have potentially have played at Sheffield United and that didn't work out. I thought he came on the pitch at Manchester United and was good. And he was coming on the pitch. It was a difficult one really on Wednesday night because there was talk a little bit earlier of him coming on the pitch, giving us a little bit of a spark. You always know that I thought Tav was unbelievable the other night, and Johnny Howson. Well, I think you understand where I'm coming from Tav's point of view, and I know there's been a little bit of a debate, but he's last two games for me, he's got to keep that consistency going, and yeah, add a little bit more, but as we're always trying to do, get a little bit more out of them. So, there was a situation maybe with Crooksy that we were going to make that change a little bit earlier, but with Crooksy, he's always got a goal in him as well, so you have to balance that off a little bit. So that was quite a difficult decision that was made for us when Matt got a whack to his head, and I think you saw Martin's come on. He's gone in for a full-blooded challenge. He's a committed challenge, and I would say, unfortunate, difficult, unlucky. Have been words that you possibly can use, but that won't last forever. That won't last forever, and hopefully we have a little bit of luck with the news with Martin and his scan, and we can get him back with us as soon as possible.
Yeah, fingers crossed. You mentioned earlier in the week that James Leah-Saliki's due to arrive at the back end of the week. Is he back yet, or is he coming back this week?
Yeah, he's back today. So he's back today. So we'll see how he rocks up. Obviously, we don't get an awful lot of information from his host, from his home nation. So we're gonna have to do our in-house assessment of him and see where he is, and make that decision whether he's going to be involved tomorrow or not.
And speaking of which, obviously a lot of peripheral noise surrounding the game with Boro coming up against Derby. Have you had any conversations with the players about that and the dangers of that, or is it just a case of don't need to, the players know what they're up against?
Yeah, there's enough experience in there. It's going to be obviously a well publicised game, and a lot of, like I said, noise from the outside on it. I should imagine there'll be an increase in capacity from our point of view as well. Sold out by Derby County supporters as well. So it's going to be noisy. It's going to be lively. That's what we want it to be. We want it in a way to be that environment that is uncomfortable for visiting players, and supportive of home players, which it certainly has been. And there's no doubt through performances in my time, and especially over the last two games at Old Trafford and at Loftus Road, where the noise has been incessant, it's been non-stop, it's been so supportive. And I think if you ever look at what positivity can do to players, then you look at what happened on Friday night and look what happened on Wednesday from everybody. From supporters, from media. We all want to be there. You local guys surely want to be at the top table. I understand you have got a job to do, and we're not asking for any favours, and you got to see the game as it is. But positivity from you guys, from us as supporters, from owners, from us as coaches, from owners, from everybody who connected to the football club. All you guys are Middlesbrough punters. There's a shirt on the wall behind Craig's ugly mug. Matty, you've got that. I'm not so sure what's up there. Me top right.
Are we looking at?
Mark Drury, you got a map of the world, but you got a big tick near Middlesbrough, I think. Down the left, I know Rob's definitely there. I'm sure one of them books there. He's set. You, Craig, big shirt. So you guys want to have prawn sandwiches and lovely sandwiches at Old Trafford, don't you? What was it like, the hospitality there? Better?
Good go and ask me, I wasn't there.
You're kidding, mate. Well, I'm telling you, it's better. It's better. You all want to be there. And I know you, like I said, I know you've got a job to do, and I've got on great with all the local guys, and we have to produce, like we have to produce for supporters, we have to produce for media. But the positive vibe around the football club, I'm telling you, let me tell you, it don't half make a difference, and that's what we all want in it. We want full houses at the Riverside. We want, Man United, Chelsea, and all that. We want to get there. This is the hard bit in terms of getting through this period. This is the really difficult bit. That we're all right with. We'll deal with that when that comes, and we're on the right tracks. But like I said, Old Trafford on Friday. Press room. I've seen all the sandwiches that are in there, fabulous, and all complimentary drinks. I saw Juicy stagger out. on Friday night. That's where we want to be, innit? So all that positivity from everybody and understanding that, hey, listen, if we have a bad day on Saturday and the punters, are not happy, then we have to take that. We have to take the rough with the smooth. We have to take that. We have to take the criticism. We have to take the criticism, whether it's from a media point of view, whether it's social media point of view, whether it's supporters, in the ground, whether it's supporters, in everyday life. We totally understand that. But we're all after that feel-good factor. We've got it at the moment. We've had to work hard to get it, and we're going to have to work double hard to keep that going. And if we're all in it together, then we can all get the benefits from it.
Look, you talked about outside noise. Is that something which you've had to make a conscious effort this week to shut out? Or as a manager, are you able to very naturally detach yourself from outside controversies?
I haven't had time to get my head off the pillow, to be fair, Ian. Time we got back on Wednesday night at like sort of 2:30, 3 o'clock, like everybody else did, I should imagine, even later. Why Crooksy not producing a quicker, sample? And then into yesterday, recovery day, and into this morning. So, but players are on social media. Players understand what's happening as well. They're part of the football game. They understand the sort of the situation and what's gone off. They're not daft. Some of them might, to be fair, because they are daft. But majority of them are quite sensible boys. So it'll just take care of itself. We just got to, like I said, play the occasion and not play the match and not the occasion, and get on with it. And we're gonna, if we want to be successful in this like last 15 games, there's going to be games like this come up. Obviously, different stories, different backstories to it all, which you understand. And this is obviously a bit of a unique backstory as well. One that I should imagine nobody really wanted to have occurred. But there's going to be stories from now right the way through, and pressure ramps up, and we've got to make sure that we're nice and calm, and we deal with the game and we play to our best of our ability.
And it will be unusual that there will be hostility directed at the home side from the away fans, and particularly probably for the first time ever at your chairman, who is such a popular figure throughout football, but barring this one afternoon, really.
As I said, there's always there's stuff flying about, and as we talked about it at the start, Ian, I don't want to get too much involved in that. I'm here as a football manager to prepare my team, understanding that the situation is not an ideal one from everybody, and I think, as I said, we'll leave it at that.
One last question. It's I think the Wayne Rooney documentary comes out on Prime tonight. When you're sitting on the settee with your family, will you be watching that?
No, I won't. But I've got enormous amount of respect for Wayne and his career, and his attitude in going into coaching and managing. I think it's refreshing. He wants to work his way through and done an outstanding early part of his job, and it's been a great start for him, relatively, in terms of the situation that he's having to deal with, and I should imagine that one will, if he has a long and distinguished career in football, that he'll look back as an experience and a really good one. As I said, I've been through it twice, and it's you learn from it, makes you better. He'll not want to deal with it, every other season, but it's an experience that every experience you go through, it can I'm sure just make you better at your job, and he's made a great start to his managerial career.
All the very best tomorrow, Chris.
Cheers, Ian. Thanks.
Justin Allen from the Sun. Please.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah, hi Chris, how are you, mate? All that talk about food, I'm just remembering that lovely Christmas dinner I had at Arsenal once. Oh, honestly, it was
fabulous, isn't it? Yeah.
Party acts, the lot.
Lovely.
Look, just a very quick one, because everyone's covered everything in great depth. Just a very quick one on Wayne. If he does pull it off and they do stay up, would he be a worthy manager of the season?
I'm not going to get involved in that. As I said, he's doing a great job. It's all sorts of different sort of relative successes to it. So, and I've talked at length about being in that situation, and they've got good players. As I said, he's had to deal with a lot of things early on. Reflective and relevant will be reflective at the end of the season, and relevant successes. Would Gareth Ainsworth last year, if they'd have got a point that kept him up, should have he been manager of the year? There'd have been a lot of talk about that because of what he has to deal with. So there's all different ones from your top guys to right away in League Two.
And just finally, we were talking just before the transfer window ended about the top teams. They always have a 20 goal plus striker. Do you feel you have that now? Do you feel you have the right balance in attack?
Well, we've got players that can score goals. We create big chances. I think since we've come in, I think we're the second or third XG biggest makers of big chances on current form. We've got technical players at the top of the pitch that can score. So and you've got to score goals to win games. So as I said, we're comfortable in the work that we did at the top of the pitch in January. 2 young players that fit the way we want to play, and hopefully we keep creating chances, and we'll score the goals that we need to win games of football.
Very best of luck at the weekend.
Cheers, Justin. Thank you.
Please. Rob.
Hi, Chris. There were no pies and there was no drink at Man United.
Well, oh no, because all the tills were shut down, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
And 2 very late night backs back for the fans. But as you just alluded to, everyone is absolutely loving it, and they might only. At QPR, they might have only got 3 or 4 hours sleep, and then going back to work. But it's great to be part of this at the moment.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Rob, and appreciate your support on it, because it is important. It means a lot. It means a lot to have everybody on board. And we, as I said when I came in, we have to produce the goods to start with, and we have to continue producing those performances. And they're not always going to be, ones that we enjoy watching, but for me, and just as a football supporter, as long as my team gives everything and has a desire to go and win a game of football, they are going to make mistakes. There's going to be days where it's not going to be as free flowing and as attractive as we all want it to look. But as long as we leave everything out there, which these boys are doing at the moment, we've got something going. We're moving it forward. That was important. We're consistent with our attitude, which is important. We will get better. We'll get better through coaching. We'll get better through transfer windows. We'll get better through recruitment. We'll get better through planning, in my opinion. How long that takes, we don't know, but it's going in the right direction. And one of the biggest things, which I've always said, is that connection between supporters, people who love the club, and the players and coaching staff. If we can get that together, this is a powerful football club when it's at one, and that's a big ambition and a big aim for me to try and help with that. And we're the way it's looking at the moment, we're on the right lines.
And supporters have asked me to pass on to you this morning how much they're enjoying watching the game and how much they thought that the football was superb at QPR.
Well, we're trying to play in maybe a little bit of a different way, and I think that epitomised with our second goal. I thought it was, we were patient, we built momentum, we moved a really good team about, and picked that right moment. You're looking for that big moment, which Jonah obviously produced, and but that's how we want it to look. We dominate, but it's going to be difficult afternoons for us, and we're not always going to get our own way, but it looked good. It felt good to everybody. It felt good on the pitch afterwards, even though we didn't get a win. It still felt like a winning draw. I don't know if you said it, Craig, or I've always said it. I think sometimes you look at it and go, from that point of view, it felt good. It felt how I wanted it to look. And we'll get better, we'll get stronger, we'll get some better players into the group, down the line through the windows and keep building it. But we got pleased with where we are at the moment. But the job is certainly a lot of work to be done, short, medium, and long term ahead of us if we want to get to where we want to be.
And the QPR game showed what we'll find again against Derby, no doubt, that the championship it's a real physical challenge as well as everything else, isn't it?
I'm up for that. I've got absolutely no issue with that. I've got no issue with Del Fry going in with Lyndon Dykes. I've got no issue with I've got issue with players rolling about. I've got issue with players feigning injury. That I've got issues with players which we've had recently against us running 30 and 40 and 50 yards trying to get people booked and sent off. I think there's an occasion not too long ago that happened. I don't need to tell you what game it was, which rattles me and riles me and annoys me. You are here to win. We are here to, to be passionate about the game, and it's a competitive, physical game, and we want to. That's part of it. We'll take it. Del Fry took it. Crooksy took it. Martin might have to take it, and we'll make contact with teams because that's what I think supporters want to see. That I certainly want to see a big tackle, a big header, and a big race. And the physical aspect of the championship is that, and it's competitive, and it's aggressive. And I thought Wednesday night was set up by both coaches and managers. There was no moaning and groaning. There was no moaning and groaning from me to Mark or Mark to me regarding what happens. If it goes over the top, then you've got an opinion about that. And if you overstep the boundaries, but it was honest, and it was brave, and it was physical, and that's how it is, and it's got to be that way.